Thanks, President Allison. It's my pleasure today to introduce J Bryan. I first met Richard when he spoke a couple of years ago to a group of family business owners. And I was pretty relieved when I heard his presentation that I was not the CEO of his family business and went through a much more predictable journey in our own business. But at the age of 28, Richard became the fourth generation of his family to be CEO of a car dealership business in Bristol, England. And this was a business that was losing $3 million per year. So today he'll share with us the lessons he learned from his family business experience and about how to communicate more effectively. He's a business owner, speaker, author, a company board advisor, and his second book about leading in tough times is due out in December. Richard lives in Evergreen, not that far from my brother, actually, with his wife Melissa, who's here today, and their two children and a faithful retriever named Archie. So please join me in welcoming Richard.
Well, good afternoon. It's an absolute pleasure to be here with you today. Can everyone hear me okay? But more to the point, can everyone understand me? I'm aware that I have a slight accent, but I hope you'll bear with me throughout the course of this program. Now, by a show of hands, who would like to be a better communicator in one area of your life? Well, what a relief. I'm in the right place. That's great. What I'd like to share with you today is the lessons I learned about becoming a better communicator, but more specifically about communicating with different personality types in your life. But first of all, I'd like to start with a short story. My father lay there on his hospital bed. I could tell he was nervous because he'd hardly said a word as we watched the evening news on TV. You see, the next day he had an operation, but not just any operation. He was going to have his leg amputated. Now, if you're diabetic, that's serious, but if you also have a heart condition, it's life-threatening. He knew the operation was a risk, and so did I. Eventually, the news finished, he turned off the TV, and he held out his hand. It was time for me to go. As we shook hands, I looked at him and I just said, "Dad, good luck with the operation tomorrow." I wanted to tell him I loved him, but somehow that would have felt like I was saying goodbye. He just looked at me and he said, "Richard, I can't do this anymore. Not like this. Even if the operation goes well, I'm going to be in rehabilitation for quite some time. You need to step up. You need to run this business. And you need to do it now." And so like that, I was running the family business, and not in the best of circumstances. The next morning, I got the news I'd been waiting for. My father had come through the operation really well. He was back in his hospital bed recovering, and it was all looking good. It was a huge weight off my shoulders, as I'm sure you can imagine. But now, I had to face up to my new challenge. And I can still remember vividly driving into work that day, sweaty palms on the steering wheel, churning in my stomach. I was 28 years old and I was terrified. The first thing I did was call a meeting of our department managers, 12 people in total. And as they filtered into the boardroom and started taking their seats, I realized something. This was not my team. I didn't choose these guys, and they didn't choose me. And I started mentally checking off what I thought about them. Entitled, bad attitude, lazy, lazier. Mike, Mike's a pretty good chap. In fact, Mike's a really good chap. At the end of the meeting, I took Mike to one side and asked him if he'd like to join me for a pint after work. We met in the local pub across the street and we talked about our families and we talked about sport. And then finally we got on to talking about the business. I said, "Mike, I've seen the way you work with your staff. They don't just like you, they respect you. And it's not by accident that your department's the only one making profit month after month. I think you could run this business." "What? I don't know anything about sales. If it's your business, I can't do that." I said, "Mike, that doesn't matter. What matters is I think we could make a great team. I think we could get this business back on track. What do you say? Well, for what seemed like a very long time, he didn't say anything. He just left me there with my pint. Just as I'm starting to think I've made a mistake, he looks up. He said, "Richard, I won't let you down." Yes, I won't let you down. Those 5 little words meant everything to me, because you see, now I had an ally. Now I had a right-hand man, and now the business had a chance to survive. Over the next 10 years, Mike and I worked very closely together. And largely because of his outstanding communication skills, we managed to move that business from a $3 million a year loss to a healthy profit. We sold that business in June 2008. But what I learned from this experience is that as a leader, you don't need to have all the answers. You just need to learn to ask better questions. And then listen intently. Because if you can communicate in a way that you're not just heard, but understood, you can achieve amazing results. And so that's what I'd like to talk about now, is communicating for results. And I don't know if you've heard, but it really is a zoo around here. That's right, people communicate like animals, 4 animals in particular. I can see some puzzled looks. Let me show you what I mean. Are you a lion? Because lions are leaders. Lions like to be in charge. They're forceful, direct. If you're communicating with a lion, get to the point. Lion's motto is, be clear, be brief, and be gone. Lions are forceful, direct, purposeful, and persevering. But they can also be a little bit impatient and maybe even slightly irritable. Anyone know anyone like that in the room? Maybe. What sort of jobs do you think lions like to do? I'm looking, I can't see any hands. CEO, leaders, anything to do with leading, being in charge. Lions like to be the boss, basically. Let me move on. If you thought that hat was silly, you ain't seen anything yet. Because are you a monkey? Monkeys just want to have fun. To monkeys, life is just a game that they enjoy playing. Monkeys are playful, energetic, and extrovert. Monkeys love people. If you're a monkey, you probably talk a lot. But monkeys don't do the detail. No, that's someone else's job. Not interested in that. By the way, at this point, I can guarantee you that any monkeys in the room are not listening to a word I'm saying now. They're just thinking, where'd you get that hat? What do you think monkeys like to do? Sales. Monkeys are great at sales. Just make sure they're not trying to fill out the order forms, because they're not very good at that. Good at the people bit. Okay, moving on. Now for something completely different. Are you an elephant? Because elephants are serious creatures, rather formal. Some might say even slightly skeptical. But elephants love doing the detail. Anything analytical, elephants like. When you're asking an elephant to make a decision, what do you think you need a lot of? Data, information. The more, the better. Never ask an elephant to make a decision without the information. They won't do it. No, it's not going to happen. What do you think drives elephants crazy? Monkeys! Monkeys drive elephants crazy. Silly animals, always messing about. It's a serious business. We've got things to achieve. So elephants, very important. And last but not least, everyone loves the last animal because you see, the last animal is a dolphin. We all love dolphins. Dolphins are the caring, sharing animals. They're the ones that stop the other animals in your zoo killing one another. They're the peacemakers. They're caring, sharing, patient and relaxed. But they're also quite sensitive. It's quite easy to hurt a dolphin's feelings. So last but not least, what do you think they like doing, or what jobs would they gravitate towards? Sorry? The clue is in the word caring. HR, nursing, social working, teachers, anything to do with looking after, helping other people. So you say, well, this is all well and good, but what use is this? Well, 95% of us have a preferred style of communication. And we tend to communicate in that way because it's our preferred style, but it's not necessarily everyone else's preferred style. But before we move on to that, let me just give you a little test to see if you can now clearly identify the animals. Because you see, I actually have one of each animal in my family, which makes life quite interesting. And so if I tell you this very quick story, I'd like to see if you can identify who's who. So we went for brunch the other day and I walked in and there was an omelette station. I thought, fantastic, straight in there, yes, ham and cheese omelette please. No onions for me, great, thank you. I've got my omelette, I'm sat down, I'm having a cup of coffee, I'm happy. While that's going on, my son has grabbed a plate and is perusing what's on offer. He's going up and down. Better have another look, don't want to make a hasty decision. While he's trying to make up his mind, my daughter comes in and notices stage left a small square table with desserts on it. She's straight in there and she comes to join me and she's got a plate with 5 chocolate-covered strawberries. I said, Jessica, do you really think that is a healthy, balanced diet? Works for me, Dad, works for me. And only when all 3 of us are sat down, have got our food, got our drinks and are happy, does my wife even consider going to get some food for herself. So who can tell me for a free copy of my book, who's who? Yes, sir.
You're the lion.
I'm the lion.
Your son's elephant.
He's definitely an elephant.
Your daughter's monkey.
Well done, give that man a hand. I'm going to pass him a book, and you see this book was actually written for all the animals, so no matter what animal you enjoy it. But the lions like it because it gets to the point, there's not too many words. The monkeys think it's pretty cool because it's got lots of coloured pages, and somewhere in here there's even a self-portrait, which is kind of nice. The dolphins think it's excellent because it's on recycled paper. And just as the elephants in the room are thinking, what a lot of nonsense, you go to the back and say, oh yeah, check that out. Got some data. If you could pass that back to him, I'd appreciate it. Thank you very much. Okay, so we can identify the animals. Now what? Well, how about praising? Praising and recognizing the animals. You see, all animals like praise, but they like it in different ways. And it never ceases to amaze me in business how many people don't think about this. You know, there's a great thing about praise and recognition, which is it's free. Doesn't cost anything, just takes a little bit of time and a little bit of thought. So how do you think you would praise a monkey? Any ideas? Praising monkeys. Do you think they like it, a quiet little word in their ear? Chuck them a banana, yeah, you can definitely do that. Private or public? Public. How often, little or often? It is physically impossible to overpraise a monkey. They just can't get enough of it. I used to have a team of 30 monkeys working for me in our sales department. And we used to have the sort of salesman of the month, and they'd get a little bonus check and a little plaque. But the big thing for them was we'd get them up at the front of the sales room. There'd be about 50 people there in total, and they'd get a standing ovation. They're like this. Look at me, I'm number one. They absolutely loved it. They'd have liked it to be Salesman of the Week. And anyone who's got a sales team out there, you know, it's so important because good salespeople understand what their net worth is. They know that they can go and work for a competitor. They're confident in their own ability. The thing that keeps them motivated and engaged to work for you is because you give them praise and recognition. So massively important that you do that with monkeys in particular. But as I've said, all animals like praise. So how about a dolphin? How do you think a dolphin likes to be praised? Same as a monkey? Privately. In fact, if you got a dolphin up here and we gave him a standing ovation, they'd probably cry. Not their idea of a good time. I'm not looking at you, darling. So a dolphin would much rather have just a little quiet one-to-one word to say thank you so much what you did yesterday for the team. That was absolutely brilliant. I really appreciate it. That's all it takes to motivate a dolphin. But you need to understand that. And as a lion, it took me a while to learn that. Okay, so we can recognize the animals, we can praise them. How about disciplining an animal or having a difficult conversation with an animal? How do you think you do that, let's say, with an elephant? You've got to have a sort of performance improvement conversation with an elephant. What do you need a lot of? Facts and figures. My son, being an elephant, a true elephant, if I wanted to say to him, Austin, I see you've got a C in biology, and yet it's your lowest grade. I think you could do better. That would be how I'd give it to him. Just do better. Just get it up to a B or an A. Thanks. Bye-bye. That's my style. I've told him what I want him to do. Job done. He sat there like that. What? He wants me to say, Austin, I see you got a 52.6 in biology, and I noticed that your average for your other subjects is 67.5. If you could split the difference, you'd actually be up to a B. What do you think about that? And then he'd probably have about 6 qualifying questions, because you see, as an elephant, he wants to know who, how, what, why, when, and where. And so he'll keep going, asking questions, and eventually he'll get to the point where he's happy, and then he'll go, okay, I understand. And that's what it takes to communicate with an elephant. And I used to have a fantastic financial controller called Sue, absolutely brilliant at her job. But when she first started working for me, she used to produce this report like that every week. It was like War and Peace. So look at this thing and think, God, I can't read that. And yet she'd worked hard on it. So eventually I took her to one side and I said, Sue, that is a fantastic piece of work, and I know you've worked really hard to put it together, but I'm never going to get through that. I have a very short attention span. If you could do a 1 or 2 page executive summary, it'd be fantastic. And that's what she did from that day onwards, and then we got on famously, but she just assumed that everyone liked lots of data because that's what she liked. Okay, so elephants, lots of information. How about disciplining a lion? Any thoughts?
Do your job or you're fired.
You've got it. Do your job or get out. That's the sort of conversation, they appreciate that. A torture for a lion is when you take 10 minutes to get to the point. They're sat there thinking, well, where's this going? They've probably moved on already. They're thinking about something else. Straight to the point. What do they say? Be clear, be brief, and be gone. So you're absolutely on the money. Get to the point and move on. And again, that's, if you're not a lion, it feels like you're almost being rude. But lions think it's great. Oh, fantastic. I'm out of here. Okay. So you've identified a lion. We can, an animal. We can praise them. We can discipline them. Now what? Well, how about sales? Anyone here involved in any sort of sales? Are there any monkeys who would like to come and just play for a minute or two with me up here? You know, I'm looking for the sea of hands going up. Oh, look at this. He's sprinting towards the stage. Will, very nice to meet you. Thank you for playing. I just need something to, here we go, this will do. Right. Will, I'd like you in the next 2 minutes to sell me a mobile phone.
Do you communicate?
I do communicate.
How often?
Regularly.
Regularly?
Yes.
With yourself and your staff, but amongst yourselves?
Amongst myself, I'm pretty outgoing.
Your
yeah.
staff?
Yeah, my staff. Yeah.
Your family?
My family, sometimes.
Sometimes?
Yeah.
Throughout the day, do you need to speak with your family at all while, you know, when you're not
Yeah,
speaking with your staff?
I try. They don't like speaking to me, though. I've got teenagers
They don't
now.
like speaking to you?
They're quite
Do,
quiet.
do they text or do they prefer other forms of communication besides speaking on the phone? Do they text? Do they email?
My son does all of that, yeah. Technologically, I'm
Do you have
technologically
any
challenged.
techno gurus on your staff?
Oh, we have lots of techno gurus,
On your
yes.
staff?
Yeah.
I've got the thing for you.
Oh, yeah.
Here.
What is it?
This is a phone that can also email and text.
Wow.
It can bring you
That could catch
all the
on.
technology that you need. Would you do you feel that if you had the ability to communicate on in many different avenues throughout the day, would that be something to make your life a little easier?
If it's quicker, yeah.
Yeah. So you wouldn't have to go on your computer and sign in to do an email. You could just do it right here on your phone, and it would be faster. That would make your life a little bit easier.
I'd like that.
And your children wouldn't have to talk to you. You could just text them.
That'd be great. They don't talk to me anyway.
You could. What? Do you ever have to read reports throughout the day? That
All right, stop there. Now, he is doing a great job. Could we give him a hand, first of all? What do you think he did well there? Asked a lot of questions. What could he have done differently? Bearing in mind we're talking about establishing the personality that you're dealing with. Sorry.
Get to the point faster.
Get to the point faster. I actually think he did an outstanding job, really good. And you could tell by the way he came sprinting up here, he's like, yee-hoo. So let me just show you briefly what I would do just to identify the animal you're dealing with. Hi, Richard, what's your name?
Will.
Will, very nice to meet you. So Will, you're in the market for a mobile phone.
Yes.
What is it exactly you're looking for in a phone?
Ease of use.
Anything else?
Print large enough that I can read it.
Okay, stop there. So ask an open question and then just keep asking open questions and being quiet. Don't start talking about features and benefits. Ask some open questions, stop and listen, because you see, they'll tell you what animal they are. If it's a monkey, they're just like, I just want a really cool camera so I can get pictures when I'm out with my friends. If they're an elephant, believe me, you'll know. You will know, because they'll ask you 101 questions. If they're a dolphin, again, they just want to know that you're going to be responsible and recycle your old phone. And if they're a lion, all you've got to say is, this is the latest iPhone 5S. It's the best. It's the latest on the market. It's the best. They're like, I'll take it. Because lions want to be the best. That's all they're interested in. They don't want to know the detail. So I think if you can do that and just listen very carefully, you can establish actually quite quickly what animal you're dealing with. But give him another hand. That was great. And let me give you a book. Thank you so much. That was great. Thank you. Well, I thought he did marvelously there. So how are we doing for time? A couple of minutes? Well, I'd like to wrap up so we've got some time for questions and answers, because I find that's where the real value is, if there's any questions out there. So let me just say, really it doesn't matter whether you're a lion, a dolphin, a monkey, or an elephant. You need to learn to be like Dr. Dolittle and talk to the animals. Because if you can learn to communicate in a way that you're not just heard, but you're understood, you will be amazingly successful. Thank you so much.
so much for speaking today. I think we're out of time for questions
Yep.
now, but it sounds like you've been